Okay, chapter 5, More Than Just a Pretty Face. My God, how did you not immediately call me? This is so exciting, Daniel. We're so happy for you. All the aunties are talking about you and Renaissance Man. All of them are surprised. We aren't surprised, though, are we, Ahmed? My father, who was reading the paper, an actual printed newspaper, because he thinks tablets change the way news feels, whatever that means, looked up from across the living room. He gave a short, sharp grunt. That was the I completely disagree with what you just said, but I'm going to be nice and ignore you now. Grunt. Aren't you proud of our son? Don't you want to tell him that? My father gave a long, drawn-out sigh, folded his newspaper, and set it aside. So this is an academic contest? I nodded. And you were selected to enter Han? I nodded again. Strange. What happens next? My mother let out an exasperated breath. All the kids who get picked write an essay over the rest of the year, like a proper thesis. Then there's a big event and they get up on stage and present their papers. One senior student for each subject. And what subject did you get? Dad asked. History. Aren't you failing history? I prefer to think that history is failing me. My father frowned. What does that mean? I don't know. It just sounded clever. He shook his head. So you got in? Picked by a teacher, Mom said. Yes, fine. Tell me, Daniel, are you going to win? I shook my head. That's what I thought, he said, reaching for his newspaper again. I'll say this about your son, Aisha. He's never surprising. Mom's hands were in her hips and her nostrils flared. Daniel, go to your room. Great. I was going to be the cause of another shouting match. I could feel it in the air, like I was standing next to a burning oven. Not for our first time. I wondered whether my parents would have been happier together if I'd never been born. I was barely to the top of the stairs when Mom started yelling and Dad replied calmly, because he always replied calmly at first before he got angry and loud. It wouldn't even be about his reaction to Renaissance Man soon. I'd heard more than enough of these to know that the fight would become about old hurts and that had never quit healed right. And it would go on, and as sure as the moon rising in the sky, until finally there would be silence without peace. When I turned 7, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to align it. When I turned 7, my father started throwing open my door at daybreak, turning lights on, roughly shaking me awake and yelling at me to get up. It was the world's most obnoxious, consistent alarm, and he didn't have a snooze button. I told him that I was responsible enough to get up and pray myself, but he refused to believe me, which was fair, but annoying. Get up, Daniel. It's time for Fajr, I groaned. Prayer is better than sleep, he said, quoting the Adhan. I know, I mumbled, like I'd done 100,000 times, and dragged my unwilling body to the bathroom. Honestly, I've never been able to square the dawn prayer with the idea of loving and merciful God. Why does a divine, all-powerful being require me to get up when it's still dark, when even early birds are sleeping, to pray? Pray to him. I mean, I know that remembering Allah is important and all, but I could also do it during regular business hours. Sighing and muttering under my breath, I made my way downstairs where my father was waiting. As crazy as Antazar thought it was, getting married young would at least keep my dad out of my room at 5 a.m. I decided a long time ago I'd buy my wife's scandalous stuff to sleep in, night shirts and tank tops and shorts, just to be absolutely sure the old man was never able to shake me awake again. He seemed tired this morning, and given the comforter and pillows piled on the couch, he slept in the living room. I never figured out why he did that. There was a perfectly good bed in the guest room he could use when he and Mom fought. Honestly, though, I stopped trying to figure out Dad out years ago. What was the point? Allah Akbar, he said, starting the prayer. I raised my hands to my ears as well, hoping that my father would choose short verses to recite so that I could crawl back into bed as quickly as possible. He didn't choose short verses. He never did. And I was the disappointment. As soon as we were done, I was on my feet and heading back to my room when my father called out, "Wait!" I groaned. "Yes, Dad?" "Eat breakfast with me." I glanced out the window. The sun had barely started to rise. I could squeeze in another 2 hours of sleep if I was lucky. "Now? You shouldn't be wasting these early hours. The Prophet Muhammad said that there is great blessing in this time. Whatever you attempt, you will do well in." "Yeah, it's the best sleep." Ahmed Jelani gave a grunt. And when we were off for the day, that was kind of funny, but I don't like you all that much, so I'm not going to smile, grunt. "I'll cook," my father offered. Oh, that was even worse. But there was obviously no way out of this. How had a holy undertaking made my morning so forsaken? I played a quick game involving DC superheroes on my phone while Dad heated a pan on high and made sunny side up eggs for us, the edges of the whites crisping. When the sizzle died away, he sprinkled an excessive amount of red chili pepper on them before dripping hot oil over the pepper and serving everything with toast. It was a desi breakfast. Chef Brodier would have had a stroke just looking at it. "Thanks," I said. He grunted in response and pointed to my phone. He was a big believer in doing only one thing at a time. With a sigh, I put it on the table, screen facing down.